When the Inuit embarked on their grueling trek from Siberia to the Arctic, they didn't travel solo. They brought along a breed of husky unlike any North America had encountered. These weren't ordinary dogs. They were larger, hardier, and engineered through centuries of careful breeding to conquer the planet's most lethal conditions. Forged to withstand brutal cold, haul staggering weights, and stand fearless in any clash, they outmatched the smaller, local dogs used by some indigenous groups in North America. Those native breeds simply couldn't meet the Arctic's unforgiving demands, but the Inuits' huskies didn't just cope, they excelled. Their dense double-layered coats brushed off sub-zero chills, their broad paws doubled as natural snowshoes, and their relentless endurance turned vast, icy journeys into everyday feats. Without these dogs, the Inuits' foothold in this frozen frontier wouldn't have lasted a single generation, a claim backed not by guesswork, but by hard evidence. Archaeological digs at ancient Inuit sites have uncovered dog bones, sled remnants, harness scraps, and even paw prints locked in ice, all over 2,000 years old. These finds reveal more than presence. They show these huskies were indispensable. Some skeletons bear marks of respectful burial, a sign they weren't mere beasts but cherished companions, grieved and revered. The proof isn't just in the past, it lives on today. The Inuit didn't simply employ huskies, they shared their lives with them, depended on them utterly, and entrusted them with their very existence. When howling winds and splintering ice threatened disaster, a husky forged the path ahead. When hunger loomed and survival hinged on relocation, a husky powered the sled. These weren't pets or possessions. They were allies in a relentless battle against the elements, a partnership unbroken after 2 millennia and still holding strong. If the Arctic was a boundless sea of ice, the Inuits' huskies were the vessels that navigated it. There was no slogging through chest-deep snow or inching across frozen wastes on foot. The kamutik, the Inuit sled, was their lifeline, and huskies were the unstoppable force propelling it. Without them, survival wasn't merely tough. It was unthinkable. Seasonal migrations weren't optional, they were a lifeline. Summer offered open waters, fresh prey, and a fleeting break from the cold's worst grip. But winter was a different monster. Ice sealed everything shut, storms devoured daylight for days, and food sources shifted unpredictably. The Inuit had to follow the land's rhythm, and their huskies made that possible. A well-trained team could transport entire households, people, provisions, and hunting gear across hundreds of miles, transforming a perilous foot journey into a calculated, manageable move. But huskies weren't just sled pullers, they were hunters too. A sharp husky could detect a seal's breathing hole beneath thick ice, pick up a caribou's scent from miles off, or even face down a polar bear in a pinch. Far from mere labor animals, they were skilled trackers and partners in the pursuit. When an Inuit hunter stalked game, his husky was at his side scanning the terrain, sensing threats and boosting every hunt's odds of success. And in the darkest moments when survival demanded grim decisions, the Arctic showed no mercy. A storm could pin a family in place for weeks, starvation creeping closer. In those rare, desperate times, a husky, the same steadfast companion, became the final lifeline. It wasn't a choice made casually or often, but when all else failed, a husky's sacrifice could spell survival. This forged an ironclad bond with the Inuit. They didn't just coexist, they endured as one. The Arctic spares no weakness. It's a place where metal shatters in the cold, and winds alone can sap your warmth to the bone. Yet huskies didn't just persist. They flourished. Built for extremes, they handled lows of 50 degrees C and highs of 35 degrees C, conditions that would cripple even the toughest snowmobiles, which need fuel and fixes. Huskies ran on raw power, instinct, and an unshakable drive. A fit team could cover 50 kilometers in a day, dragging heavy loads over ice, deep snow, or slush, terrain that would bury a person whole. Their fur-clad paws, thick and naturally grippy, clung to the ground like they were born for it, because they were. Every inch of a husky was sculpted for stamina, Deep chests fueled steady breaths in icy air. Powerful legs kept a tireless pace, and fur denser than a wolf's trapped heat while shrugging off wet. That double coat was like Arctic armor, blocking wind and insulating them through the night. They'd curl up tight, tails over noses, warming themselves with their own exhales. Unlike other domesticated dogs, huskies didn't lean wholly on humans for food. Summers saw them turn self-reliant, hunting small game, scavenging or fishing when the ice melted. Come winter, they were back, primed to run. A husky's knack for leading a sled team through blizzards and treacherous ice wasn't taught. It was innate, refined across generations. Elders passed it to pups, mushers to teams, not through rigid drills but through lived experience. From their first steps, husky pups soaked up the sled's cadence, the musher's tone, the value of unity. The lead dog was the linchpin, not the swiftest or mightiest, but the sharpest. It read the land, spotted hazards before the musher could, and made snap calls that could mean life or death. A hidden ice crack? It sensed it. A brewing storm? Pressed on. A misguided command, it overruled it. Not defiance, but survival smarts. A top lead dog didn't wait for orders. It knew, much like you know to hit that subscribe button. The musher's bond with their huskies was a silent language. Gestures, weight shifts, whistles. Commands weren't barked. They were felt. Skilled musher didn't dominate. They collaborated, trusting the dog's instincts as much as their own. Beyond sledding, huskies stood guard, ears pricked for polar bears or wolves stalking the shadows. In a land where survival teetered on a knife's edge, a tight-knit sled team wasn't just handy. It was everything. To the Inuit, huskies weren't mere survival aids. They were kin. In the Arctic's piercing cold, where warmth rivaled food in value, these dogs often slept alongside their humans, their thick coats doubling as living heaters. 3-dog night wasn't a figure of speech. It was real. On the bleakest nights when caribou hides fell short, cuddling multiple huskies could mean waking up alive. But the tie ran deeper than shared warmth. Unlike cultures that viewed working animals as replaceable, the Inuit saw theirs as equals. A musher often fed the dogs first, knowing a robust team secured everyone's fate. When rations dwindled, families skimped on their own shares to keep the dogs fit to work, hunt, and defend. Many believed huskies had spirits, sensing what humans couldn't. A pause at a river hinting at thin ice, a growl in the dark signaling a prowler. Ignoring them was unthinkable. Trusting them was woven into their ethos. This reverence meant huskies were handled with care and respect, not pets, not tools, but protectors and extensions of the Inuit soul. By the 20th century, snowmobiles nearly erased sled dogs, pushing the Canadian Eskimo dog to the brink. Yet the Inuit never let the bond fade. Today, efforts to revive traditional sledding are growing, not just for necessity but to safeguard heritage. Husky racing and tourism now fuel global curiosity, keeping the legacy alive. Despite modern machines, the Inuit-Husky connection endures, a testament to resilience, loyalty, and survival in Earth's toughest crucible. That's the story for this one, folks. Catch you next.